Okay, I think phew, we did it. All right. Welcome everybody to our Thursday book launch. Oh, hey, Regina's here. I'm putting her name down for reading. My name is Malika Albrecht, and I'm the founding editor of Redheaded Stepchild. And we have been running this series of book celebrations for over 6 years now, guys.
Wow,
So
wow.
that's pretty amazing. And tonight I'm very excited to be celebrating with Tim Mayo. We're going to have a lot of fun with Muscle Memories of Love and Disaster,
Hmm.
put out by Bainbridge Press. And there's a link if you don't already have a copy of the book. I'm going to read the briefest of bios because I really want to turn it over to Tim so we can start the celebration. Um, you may know his work. He's the author of two previous full-time poetry collections, The Kingdom of Possibilities, which came out in 2009. And I love this one title. Titling is just a forte of yours. Thesaurus of Separation, which was out in 2016. He's also the author of two chapbooks. And again, listen to the titles: The Loneliness of Dogs, 2008, and Notes to the Mental Hospital Timekeeper, which was out in 2019. We
Oh,
should have been able to celebrate that
oh,
too.
wow.
Um, he lives in Vermont, and he has worked at the Brattleboro Retreat for over 15 years.
Yeah,
With
yeah,
wow, it's a
yeah.
mental institution, and he's been both in as a teacher and also a mental health worker, and where he's also founding member and organizer of the Brattleboro Literary Festival. Tim, thank you so much for letting us celebrate with you tonight.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Oh, so I'll give a little bit of an intro to this book and then start my reading. 5 years ago, I woke up in the ICU after almost dying. And one thing that kept me going during that time was wanting to finish this manuscript. It really was a lifesaver for me. I write about this a little bit, but the disaster of my accident is only a small part of the book, and it's more about love, the people I've lost in my life, and learning to live my life with compassion. That I sort of got by working at the retreat. And the first poem I'm going to read is for a very close friend who was dying while I was recovering in the hospital. And there are two French words in the poem, which I'll give you the meaning of now. The first word is soulagement, which means relief. And the second French word that I use is salut, which has two meanings. It's used as a salutation, a greeting, and it also means salvation. Meditation on your final moment for Pat Farnioli. For me, maybe that moment is a heightened state, slackened to a palatable point where body and brain can balance before the end. Or is it possibly just a state of immense relief? No, it must be more, although I'd settle for that. Any old port in the storm, as they say. But for you, the poet in me wants something more out of body, where when it fans its feathers before your eyes, your jaw just drops and you're there. In some stories, that must be how it happens. An affirmation of the Holy Spirit extends its wing like the hand of God. But in the flesh and blood world, a bird before your eyes, and bingo, you've suddenly bounced off the bottom of your life, ascending into the air of who knows where? Not a chance. So let us then think of the practical how, the mechanics to move you to your end without needing some bureaucratic benediction, some absolution, or a passport. for your pale ghosts of regret. Maybe all you need is just a gentle, saline solution of generosity, flushing the blood right out of your veins. I mean, why not? Why not? It feels right in its medically non-judgmental soulagement, the cool liquid diffusing the fever that was the passionate red of your life's discomfort. Your salut in all its meanings as you greet the penultimate experience of your life. The soul, I hate to say the word, twisted with the wishes and wants of this world. I hate to say it because nothing's immortal except the stone base of the universe. The soul, as you're seeing eye dogs, sensing everything you can't, wants its way to where the flesh isn't in the way. Christ, how did I get here talking like this? I'm not a believer. Yet I think of you now, only you, and not myself, my own less pain-racked body aching in the dark with its muscle memories of love and disaster. I think of you reaching for this timeless moment, and I ask, why not pass these last moments of your life in that grace of letting go, that anti-struggle to faith? But I know you're waiting for some ecstatic flash of mind to happen before the big sigh you only have to exhale once lifts you to the wherever you've always wanted to be. Who cares whether it's real or not? Won't that breath be worth it? The next poem, well, I won't say anything about it. I'll just read it. It's self-explanatory. At the chemo clinic. It's been several years since I went, and I went only once to accompany my daughter. So now, as I try to dredge up the details to tell you, or to tell anyone who unafflicted does not suffer, though we all do in our different ways, my memory melds the moment with my imagination, makes of it something other than it is or was. Picture yourself out for your ritual Sunday drive, and you need gas, so you pull into your local Exxon to fill up your body for a trip to an aimless place, circling around the lake of regret, asking yourself why you didn't do this before, cruising on through the neighborhood of wistfulness. What can I say? I remember the twitter of small talk in the treatment room, how it echoed like spring, surprising me with its sound as, armed with her pillow, book, and cell phone, my daughter picked a private spot to wait for the attendant nurse to come, attach the clear plastic hose to her chest, and start the pump, so I could see how prayer poured into the hourglass of her heart. A slightly less intense poem. This is a love poem, and it's entitled Big Nose Blonde for Betsy. Last night, McNeil's burned to the ground. That brewery/bar at the bottom of the hill. I remember a beer McNeil used to make called Big Nose Blonde. I think of salt when I try to taste it in my mind, not because it tasted salty, but my palate recalls how it was the perfect antidote for that bitter saltiness whenever some aftertaste of life curdled on my tongue. It would always be a recollection I couldn't bear to enunciate, almost like biting into the liquidness of its memory, trying to surround it with the hard consonants of courage. And I remember a word I never used, hidden in a ribbed cage, which kept my heart from beating too fast, from tearing itself apart for a reason I couldn't fathom. A dangerous word, dangerous in its velvet softness, a word I no longer fear as I think of you in the dark of this morning before the dawn arrives, and I drive to work with the memory of your hand in mine as we walked toward the fire where the big-nosed bottles rattled and popped in the flames. My next poem is the only poem that I will read that deals with my accident, and it sort of goes beyond that. And once again, I have a French expression which I need to explain to you. The expression is bon mot, which means, literally translates as good words, but it means witticisms. A different color of sun. When the nurse unbandaged my head, I realized I couldn't speak in the old language. The muscle of my mind knew no way to hold the cleverness of its bon mot. All through my body, the ache of accident persisted. Reader, you cannot know how I want this poem to end in morning glories on the vine, but the best effort of my brain leads only to a spastic salute to life made with my half-crippled arm raising its hand to the swollen brow of my half-closed eye. How can I tell you I've discovered in this new language the infinite possibilities of pain and suffering that exist in the universe? Yet my one open eye still sees each pinprick blink of brightness called star as the dark universe continues to expand. Friend, I've come to the conclusion that suffering is the invisible air we can't stop breathing. It surrounds the spirit like the unconscious, laying siege to our joy. How can I tell you? I awake each morning to a different color of sun clawing at my window like a dark tiger stalking my injured brain. I still work in at the Brattleboro Retreat, but I don't work either as a teacher any longer or as a mental health worker. I work in admissions, and this is a poem that comes from that work in admissions. And it's a poem about that and poetry and, I don't know, a lot of other things, I guess. It's entitled A Pure Bodiless Sound. I'm thinking of the skylight in the cathedral ceiling of your room. How you told me last night as we lay there about the moon shining in the night before and you couldn't sleep. I remember saying, you should have called me. But I was at work, where it was almost dead, until I gathered up my coat before shutting down my lightless console, and a young woman called, a crisis counselor. She didn't really want to know if we had a bed for her suicidal client, though that's what she asked. She wanted to hear a voice without a face, a pure, bodiless sound to soothe the strung-out chords of her out-of-tune harp after arguing for hours to keep a boy alive who wanted, with all the anger of adolescence, to die. I listened and said a few words to help her get in tune again, to straighten the tired feathers of her wings. I even stayed on the line like a confessor, an emissary from whatever light shines in the dark closet of the confessional. I listened right up to and past the hour when work and I would both shut down, calling it a night. And she, too, would leave the emergency room for home and the reel-to-reel replays she'd dream. The business of poetry is not po-biz. I want to say that to remind me how profane the world is, that even the world of poetry can have this life goes on side to it. Auden's dogs going on with their doggy life, a humanity of who cares seeping in between the lines. And lastly, I want to add just one more thing. I'm not a soft-touch poet with a heart of gold who works in a mental hospital for love. The trick in my work, boys always fall from the sky. The trick is to let them land gently on the page where the moon I didn't see the other night hangs by its slim thread, but still bright enough to let me see you tossing in its light, restless for all we wish for, even that boy's life. Still at the retreat, this is a poem from when I did work on the units, and it's to a young teenager who spent about 9 months in the adolescent unit waiting for a placement to a residency. It's entitled Fairy Tale for a Young Impatient. Down, down, way down at the very bottom of the old wishing well, the one with the broken crank, no rope and no pail, the one still covered by the quaint, scant roof meant to keep other things out. Down, down to where the memories you keep lie at the bottom like tarnished pennies. One day there will appear a splendid fish, as red and gold as your fabulous cape, my princess, my forlorn one. You will see it swim in the deep, distorting murk we all wish to forget, fluttering its fins like a fledgling, testing its way out of the well, and you will drop a line, a strangling thread from your cape. Unspun in desperation, trying once more to reach beyond the bottom to where there are no memories. But you will catch this fish instead, reeling it in like a new story worth telling, unnoticed until now, though it has always been there, flickering about between the dull coins. And after you pull up this fish with its sparkling gossamer fins, you will wrap it gently in the matching colors of your cape, cradle it in your scarred arms all the way up the narrow, insufficient pass of your past, with its many twists and turns along the whole cruelty of that journey, then finally down the other side to a calm place where the lake water licks the shore in little waves. There you will kneel down and surrender all that you've carried to that clear water, stretching yourself out to swim with the fish, the beautiful one you rescued. And my last poem is a love poem, another love poem. And I just wanted to say one thing about it, that the poet Donne that I mentioned in the poem is Stephen Donne, not John Donne. So, butterfly for Betsy. Since I have no long-handled net to capture what I want to offer you, I turn to Donne's poem instead of you. In it, he's invented a butterfly to distract from the reader he doesn't name, whom he's hidden on the page as a faint watermark beneath the butterfly's paper-thin wings. I watch the wings flutter their dust toward the fool's cap corners of his poem, and I decide to take his butterfly, pluck it right off his page and put it on mine, make it the symbol I will use for us. I even tell you it's my own invention as I spread and pin it in all its colorful splendor on this page you're reading right now, this moment, and you're not a graying shadow smudged beneath this butterfly like an afterthought. Now I am ready. I feel as if the gist of what I could thrust with my pen would replenish that hollow, thoracic hole we've both known, you and I. That place collectors of such metaphors have been trying to fill with this last specimen, too fragile to ever put our finger on, but which would complete them and us, so then the glass lid could close over their lives. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Y'all can all unmute and let's just take a moment. Tim, that was spellcasting, spellbinding.
Thank you.
This is going to take me a middle.
Oh my goodness.
People have questions and you're welcome to jump in.
Yeah.
What a fabulous reading, and the poems, just the expansiveness and yet the groundedness is stunning. The sonic architecture, I have questions about.
Sure.
And someone just wrote something that I want to read because I think this really captures it. What a rivet, Cindy, this is what you said. Do you want to read that? Unmute first, Beck.
Muted. What a riveting reading, Tim. There's a gentleness to your tone and yet the lines are so powerful and poignant. And I also like the way you
Who is
incorporate poetry into it. The idea of poetry,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
writing poems within the poems. I like poems about poems. Some editors and poets don't like that, but I do. And I love the way you read, and I was really engrossed in the whole, you know, it was just very from the heart, you know.
Thank you. Thank you, Cindy.
Yeah. Enjoyed, like you enjoyed.
I love your insight, Cindy. That's why I wanted to start with that. Does anybody have any specific questions? I keep coming back to how Tim started that this wanting to complete this book is something that, gave him life. And we oftentimes talk of poetry being life-saving. And oftentimes people take that as metaphoric, but I would argue that for a lot of us, it's been quite literal.
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised this book in particular, you pour so much into it and that it kept saying you will finish because it's just so powerful. And I wanted to go back to what you said, Cindy, because the way that Tim writes with slant rhymes and then assonance and consonants, there's a musicality that moves us and kind of keeps us regulated even while talking about very deep, complex emotional terrain. And I admire that, Tim, because it's a very hard thing to talk directly into the sun and not have us going, oh, that's too high. And partly that's because the way you wrote it and the way you read it. So thank you.
Thank you.
It's masterful.
You're like a poet's poet. You read directly to the reader. Isn't that, like I felt
But
like
also
you were
accessible, like a human.
But I felt like, he was reading just to me, or I was reading the book,
Oh, I love that, Cindy. Lori has a question, so I want to make sure that I acknowledge that. But Cindy, the feeling of being just, I think there's an intimacy to the poems themselves that does feel very connected and personal. Lovely way to put that. Lori, you had a question?
Yeah.
Not really a question, but a comment. Tim, I have to say that, and your musicality has been mentioned, and it's just this interesting thing that you are never afraid to just go there with material that's very hard, that many of us experience, but still you put it on the page. But I notice that the real care you take with sound is kind of this, not only is it pleasing, but in my view makes it poetry, but it also is kind of a control so that the material itself doesn't become either diatribe, I don't think it would with you anyway, or too maudlin. It's the sound that is kind of controlling the poem all the way through, which is such an incredibly good skill to have. And I just kept noticing it with every poem.
Wow. Thank you.
I love that, Lori. And that's kind of where I was hinting to, but you've gone and said it so beautifully. But there is something in the language and the flow, the rhythm that keeps us as reader or as listeners, as readers regulated despite, and that's neurobiological. But I also wonder if that's not the compassion and kind of tenderness that the speaker has throughout the poems. Despite that direct phrase that I forget is like I'm not a tender poet with a heart of gold. I thought, well,
I think you are.
yeah, saying.
Oh boy, yeah.
Anybody else?
I just enjoyed all of the poems, regardless of the subject matter, were so gentle.
Thank you.
With me as the listener, the reader. They were just gentle and just so carefully crafted, but I didn't feel like, oh, this is a crafted poem. They just all felt so sincerely caring about the
the subject matter and the reader.
Uh,
It was just love. It was just beautiful poems and a beautiful reading.
thank
Well,
you.
you've hit on another thing, Karen. Wow. But isn't that fascinating that everybody's kind of echoed that same thought
Yeah.
of connection and care
Uh,
as a reader experience or a listener experience? It's fascinating.
uh,
And it's beautiful.
wow. Well, I I don't know. You don't know what's going to get to people or not or anything like that. I do know that the meditation on your final moment, which was the first poem I read, I ended up being able to read it to Patricia Fargnoli, who was the woman
Wow.
I wrote it to. And I felt, though, at the time that it was somewhat sacrilegious or something. There's a couple of sort of, the final, the idea about the saline solution and stuff like that. She was dying of cancer as well. But I wasn't sure, I mean, I did end up writing another poem after she died, which is really an elegy, but in any case.
Hmm.
Did,
I'm so glad that you got to read that to Pat, though.
Yeah.
did
I,
she react to it, Tim?
did she what?
Have a reaction to the poem?
She was suffering pretty much, and I felt that I wasn't sure. I also felt that there was part of it that was a little bit this sort of around that that the part where of the saline solution and stuff like that's sort of a little bit funny, or I don't know, sarcastic, or something that could be a little sort of not honoring her. It's a little sacrilegious in honoring her. So that was my feeling about it. But it was published in Valparaiso Poetry Review, and the editor of which the VPR doesn't exist anymore, but the editor, I think, took it because I told him that it was a poem for Pat, and but I wasn't sure he would have taken it otherwise. I don't know. Yeah.
It's so hard to know. I mean,
Yeah.
I think, but I would say that the poem in and of itself, because I imagine that a lot of people didn't know Pat and didn't know her work,
Yeah.
that heard the poem and still connected deeply.
Well, I hope so. I hope so.
That's my sense. I mean, anybody have a response to that? Did people know?
Yes.
Uh,
So you did
Yes.
not know her?
No, it felt universal to me. It
Okay.
felt, I mean, I felt that it was, of course, it was to somebody that you genuinely cared for and cared about, but I didn't need to know the person. I felt
Yeah.
the love and the celebration of life, and
Okay.
it was very touching, very
There's, yeah,
beautiful.
thank you, Karen, because I think sometimes we have sincere questions, and that felt like a very sincere question. And there's your answer, Tim. I
Okay.
think that's lovely.
Thank you.
I also want to add that I didn't know her, but I know you for a long, long time. So a lot of things resonated, and I knew you, right after your accident too. So that really spoke to me. But the odd thing is that I'm starting chemo next week. So
Right.
hearing those poems about that was like, whoa.
Yeah, right. Now, I'm not sure that I don't know whether that works or not,
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
But I think the irony, I mean, one of the things that in approaching this part of my life, I find that things like you talked about that one line about the saline solution, and sounded like you were a little worried. I wouldn't worry. I think that my experience thus far is that there's a lot of irony and a lot of,
No.
humor and a lot of, maybe a little cynicism too, in the whole process. So
Right.
thank you.
And again, Sheila, you're answering a question that Tim kind of had about how the work lands. And I thank you for that.
Yeah.
I think that I love that poem as well as everyone. And I think you were fighting against sentimentality. You're kind of moving along. You're bringing up things. You're going through new turf and so on, but you keep on resisting the pull of sentimentality, which just propels the poem. I think that's probably the energy that propels the poem. It's really a masterful poem.
Thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful way to say it. Masterful. Just masterful work. Well, Tim, thank you so much. I knew we were going to have fun.
Thank you. My goodness. Thank you so much.
We're going to have a joyous time reading the chat section when I send it to you. And once again, everybody, if you don't already have a copy, I put the link in the chat section. We're going to move to open mic. If anybody has changed their mind about reading, let me know, and I'll be glad to add or remove you. You're also allowed to opt out. Karen, I'm starting with you.
Oh, good. I can get it over with. I can chill and enjoy everybody else's. Okay, so this is turned. I've turned over many leaves, new and old. I like leaf blowing. It's a raucous activity, an undercovery of earth, a discovery of what lies beneath such a litter of so many small deaths. I shield my eyes from the demise of the cover of leaves, protect my ears from the damaging hears. I breathe into everydaying, the inevitable decaying, going down, turning over, in my grave, unsettlings, as I am always leaving in so many ways.
Wow. Does anybody have as much fun with words than you?
Yeah.
I love that.
That's great.
I love some
the
words.
Joy. Yeah, the joy that you have in writing, I can feel as you read it. And I love it. It's hard not to get caught in and go, yes, you play with those words because it's fabulous, Karen.
Well, thank you. And I do have a very strange love of blowing leaves and raking. I don't know. I just love leaves. Every kind of leaf, every stage of leaf.
I love that. Christy, I have you next. Make sure you unmute.
Okay. So this poem is a short one, but I just found out that I got 4 pieces picked up by Public School Poetry. And so I'm going to read this one tonight. And it's after a Layla Shadi poem. This is called The Moon Shines on My Feral Face. Drinking in an indigo night, my breathing steals in awe of a perfect moon. Remembering the mile I swam, steeped in the spirit that steals me, lucky to be alive in a life that's mine.
Love it. And congratulations on the publication. That's awesome.
Thank you. And thank you for your poems tonight, Tim.
Oh, thank you so much, Christy. Thank you.
Laura? Oh, wait. I've got Bob and then Laura. Sorry. If Bob says this is a long poem, I'm not going to believe him. Make sure you unmute. I'm going to ask you to unmute again. Let's see if we get it. Here we go.
This is an extremely short poem. Rain added a color that was not known. His thoughts a replica of the rain.
Can you read it again, Bob? I love his work. If you listen, it's always so taut and layered.
Thanks. Rain added a color that was not known. His thoughts, a replica of the rain.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome, Bob. I love our open mic, and if you've just come here, you'll end walk away going, yeah, that was fire. Laura, I have you next.
Okay, this is a little new, needs work, but I'm reading it anyway. Shrine. I'll build you a jeweled reliquary to house your heart when you are gone, or perhaps your finger, like Saint Teresa, forever pointing the way. So much better than an urn on the mantle. Should I save just the skull? Like St. Thomas, you can remind us of the 5 ways to God. Maybe the whole skeleton placed in a glass-sided box, complete with jewels and a set of silver teeth when yours have rotted away. No altar is large enough to house the all of you. Thank you.
Oh, Laura. Love it. Suddenly it reminded me of an old cross that I had that had a little bone in it. You know, growing up Catholic, we're weird.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, they were all in
Nikel,
the
I have you next. There you are, Nikel. Make sure you unmute, Nikel.
Hi.
Thank you.
Nigel Kramer. Can folks hear me all right?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, all right. This is called Come Closer and Listen. How fine is a day that brings with it 2 wonders. The first that tells its own brave story of sitting wordless at your loving side. Then I might make you smile across our table before the evening and the late dawn seal the day. Now, standing steady between the rush of the grasses and the cloud-hidden heaven, what could I bring that would tell you of the gift that for the rest of my life I will know this precious day? Thank you.
Oh, that's gorgeous. Before the evening and the rush, there was a fabulous sense of movement and also stillness coming to rest. It's very lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see. I have Stephen next.
Okay. All right. This poem is called Birds. As I wander through the night, the heart plunges into what seems an endless hell, foreboding darkness, the sun on the other side of the world. Birds, harbingers of light, announce the sun's return. How old is the sun? The age of the universe. Philosophers brood on such things, the fleeting self, life and death, while others study the origins and evolution of love, the tireless devotion of birds, building nests, feeding hungry chicks. Dinosaurs were no doubt passionate. They too laid eggs, but there is no evidence of T-Rex, Pterosaurs, Stegosaurus, or even Bronchosaurus love. The avian ancestors of birds outlasted the dinosaur extinction, building nests, feeding hungry offspring, proof of the triumph of love, the survival of the fittest in the fierce Darwinian free-for-all.
Stephen, fabulous. And yep, the sun on the other side of the world and the tireless devotion of birds building nests. And it reminded me that bird song actually regulates us as humans. When we hear it, it indicates safety. It's just fascinating. I was thinking about like the landscape of sounds to where we live. Lovely. Yeah. Laura wrote fierce Darwinian free for all. Yeah. Love it. Cindy, I have you next.
Okay. This time I remembered to unmute. I have a few short ones, no surprise. This one actually will get published in sense and sensibility, it's my friend's haiku journal, and she does a very lovely job. And she would turn me down if she didn't like them. This wasn't like, all right, I'll take it. Haiku. Photosynthesis. Abundance of peregrine leaves. Money grows on trees. I picture the, green leaves, and I love money. Anyway, what I've learned in mindfulness meditation, how to make molehills out of mountains.
Cindy, I adore how you have fun with short poems. You and Bob could give a master class in that.
You know what? I'm starting to write a little more flash fiction and longer. I have written really long poems.
Well,
okay.
Having read your chapbooks, I know. But
yeah. Yeah. 2-page poems.
But yes.
Couple more.
What did Karen just wrote? I'm smiling so hugely I can hardly type. Regina, I have you as our final reader.
Arlene's going to read too.
I wanted to do one more. Can I do one?
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm just rolling along.
Yeah, we started talking, but I had a couple of. Anyway, I'll just do one more. It's political. Watch out. The lushness of spring. Let us pray it gives way to blue wave November.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yeah. All down for that. Arlene, I'll come to you.
Arlene.
I changed my mind. So this poem is in our local. It's called Poems Around Town, and it's a Brattleboro version of Poem City.
Okay.
Streetlight mingles with moon glow. Streetlight mingles with moon glow, lights my way, but not so bright that I can't see stars scattered or streaks of clouds that appear lit from within. I'm alone. It's late for this hood, bathed in symphonic silence. Above, firmament is vast, distant, streets close and familiar, bend toward me, reach to me, and both are holy this night.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Thank you for sharing that. There was something very mystical for me in hearing that poem. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Bathed in symphonic silence. Lovely phrase. Regina, I have you for our final reader.
Oh, wow. I don't know if I should have been the final reader, but I want you to know this is it's a little tongue in cheek. It's very interesting. When I was thinking about maybe what I would read tonight, I came across a poem that I forgot that I wrote. And I was in a place. And so anyway, doesn't have a set title yet, but it does have an epigraph. I think that this is the prettiest world as long as you don't mind a little dying. From Mary Oliver, Kingfisher. In theory, barring rogue mutations, accidents, and incidents, we could take them. They are really all the same, the humans, large fleshy bags of mostly water imbued with self-righteous energy. Certainly, those who find themselves peering outside of here, galactic explorers and conquerors, heavenly hosts and otherworldly haints, angels and orishas and more who emerge from the continuum, know that we are not the prettiest things, nor are we often the nicest. Truth be told, though, they know we're not so hard to take out. The universe would barely notice. Our world on its rotation is gorgeously inviting, pirouetting like a vane top in celestial skies. Yet other beings must certainly laugh at our hubris in the face of our apparent inability to control our most murderous inhabitants. To those beyond the swirling earth, however, there is something to be done about us. Let us implore the earth to save itself. Maybe a massive rolling up of the waters on one side and a massive windstorm on another. Maybe the rocks can thunder down the mountains. One big battle cry, all at once now. Yeah, a little dying could do the trick. The universe suggests, just try. It couldn't hurt worse. A start over, a universal tenant search for new beings who bask in the appreciation of that which is higher than themselves.
Mm.
Love it. Perfect one to end on. Are you kidding me? A universal tenant search. God. Thank you, Regina.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the perfect one to end on. It's been so good to be in y'all's good company. And Tim, thank you again.
Malika, thank you so much it's an honor. I loved when you published some of my poems in Redheaded.
Yes.
I loved it. Oh, it was great. And
I was always glad when I got a batch of your work. I was always so happy there.
oh, it was wonderful. Thank
And
you.
y'all can see why, right? Across your desk, you'd be like, thank you, Tim. Have a lovely night, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks
Bye-bye,
again.
Paul.
Yeah,
He sees you. Good, good.